loving. Bring it on home to me. One more thing I tried to treat you like, but you stayed out all night. But I forgive you, baby. Bring yours, sweet loving. Bring it on home to me.
Turn it over to Tom.
Good afternoon, everybody. We need all the candidates to come to the front of the room now, please. All the candidates to the front of the room.
There you go.
Yes.
That's a Mardi Gras. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I would like to extend a warm welcome and thanks to all our guests, candidates, and those who worked so hard to bring about this event. We are so blessed to be here as Hot Springs Village celebrates its 50th anniversary this year. We are thrilled that we are able to come together as a community and celebrate. At the same time, we are also pleased that everyone has an opportunity to meet all 5 Board of Director candidates for the upcoming 2020 election. Our MC for this event is Tom Blakeman. Tom has been a village homeowner for 4 years after moving here from Texas. As many of you may know, he has been active in promoting ideas to improve HSV and has authored many articles and papers on the subject. All right, let's get this event started. Thanks again, and please give a big round of applause for Tom Blakeman.
Well, thank you, Cheryl, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone came out. It's a beautiful day outside. It's going to be a beautiful day in here. We have a lot of good things to hear from these 5 candidates. But before we get started, I think we do owe a special thanks to 2 people who made this happen. That is Cheryl and Joe Dowling. Please give them a round of applause. And let's also think for a minute about this wonderful place we call home, Hot Springs Village, on this 50th anniversary year. And how about a round of applause for us, the village? And let's not forget the 5 candidates. All are prepared and willing to give their precious time and spend their lend their individual expertise to the betterment of our village. So let's give them a round of applause. So they are all going to speak for about 3 minutes. But first, I'd like to have them identify themselves by raising their hand. Number one, Nikki Choice. And we're doing this alphabetically in case you were wondering. Dead battery, I guess. Second in line is Kirk Denninger. We also have Dick Garrison. Tucker Omohundro. And Lloyd Sherman. So the purpose of the event is to have fun, talk to the candidates. That's why they're here. They're going to talk to you, but they want to hear from you and mingle with you and hear your ideas, answer your questions. As I said, we're going to first though have each candidate with 3 minutes to just tell you a little bit about themselves, their platform, and what they hope to do as a board member. So, I'm going to be the timekeeper, if I can get my iPhone to work. Okay, so first candidate will be Miss Nikki Choice.
Thank you. Okay. My name is Nikki Choice. I wrote down a couple of things, but I wanted to go ahead and say that, first of all, thank you for coming, and I do want to have an opportunity to speak, so I will be hanging around so that you have a chance to give me a talk, maybe give me some of your thoughts. And I do agree that this is what Tom said, this is a beautiful place. We have so many advantages of being here. Our lifestyle is wonderful, and I want us to focus in on the positives. We have a lot of positives. We have a few things we have to still work on, but we have a lot of positives, so let's focus there instead. I want to represent every property owner if I'm elected. My commitment to you is that I will work and do what's in the best interest of our village. I will do the research on the issues at hand, and I'll make decisions based on what that information is. The village needs thoughtful leaders who can make decisions based on the facts and not on emotions. My background in project management has taught me to look beyond the presenting symptoms. Sometimes when we have issues, we have to think about what those root causes are, because we can't fix a problem by looking at just a symptom. We have to get to the root cause. And once we find that root cause, we will be able to uncover the truth. And I'm not convinced that we have found the root causes yet. So that's another commitment is I want to work until we find those root causes so we really are truly solving the right problem. I've been a property owner for more than 15 years. I moved here last May, so that makes me a resident property owner now, but I've been listening and visiting the village for many, many years, and I understand some of the issues that we're talking about. Before I moved here, I submitted my application to be on a committee. That's a bit unique because it's unusual for a non-resident property owner to be on a committee. And the committee I chose was the CMP Advisory Committee. I chose it because it is contentious, and that's where I felt like my skills could be best used in trying to deal with some of the issues there. But this committee is tasked with representing property owners when advising on project and budget priorities. We are your voice. The CMP provides the village with a long-term strategy for our future. We have a plan. Now we need to implement that plan. When the current chair resigned, I stepped into the role of chairperson. Serving on this committee has increased my knowledge of many aspects of the village and broadened my understanding of what's possible for our future. These are all reasons why you should consider electing me to the board of directors, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. All right, next up, Mr. Denninger.
Hello, my name is Kurt Dender. Thank you, Tom. I support Nikki Choice as a good choice for Hot Springs Village Director. And I mean this in a good way. She may not fully comprehend the master plan. I support LTD Limited. My unlimited candidacy has got their back. According to the bylaws, we are all qualified candidates for Hot Spring Village Board of Directors, and I believe that any one of us will be a good director. And if elected, I am prepared to work with all directors to do what is in the best interest of the property owners. I support the resignation of Buddy Dixon. Any director who has violated the bylaws should resign. I would also support the resignation of Nancy Luring. I support the resignation of Leslie Nally. A CEO who knowingly violates the term of their contract, that contract can be terminated for cause. Since the bylaws specifically prohibit 6 out of 7 requirements on a vote, that part of the contract is invalid. A simple majority vote of the Board of Directors can terminate that contract for cause without severance pay. Our assessment structure is like a four-wheel drive. In 1970, it worked very well since all of the roads were mud, and we needed a four-wheel drive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kurt. And don't forget, everyone will have more time to speak to these candidates directly after everyone has had their 3 minutes up here. Dick, the mic is yours.
First of all, I'd like to thank the sponsors of this event. This is terrific. Way beyond anything I thought they were doing. And secondly, thank you guys for coming out. And the reason I say that isn't to do anything grandiose to you. It's to thank you for getting involved. We need more people involved. And this is a good start. This is what's needed, and this is what that LTD will support, and that is your vote. And asking for your vote, and I ask it for LTD, not only for myself. We want to send a message. We want to send a strong message to the POA that this is what the people want. We want to win by a huge majority. Don't waste your vote. Don't waste your neighbor's vote. Don't waste your golf buddy's vote. Don't waste your church people's vote. Go out there and get them to send those things in for LTD so that we can send a message to the POA that this is what you want. And then trust us to try to enact what you want.
Are we the POA?
Pardon me?
Are we not the POA?
We are the POA, but we're the management, I'm sorry, of the POA. You threw me. We want to change this organization from a development corporation to a maintenance organization. You can look up our credentials. They're all out in the lobby. They're on the table in front of you. You can find them. But we only want to do one thing, and that's return this village to what it should be. And I thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dick. And here comes Mr. Tucker.
I just want to introduce myself. My name is Tucker Almondro. I have lived in the village since '85. I worked for Cooper, the developer, up until 2006. I helped develop this village. I've worked with the VOA for many, many years. I also oversaw the ACC committee, which was directly responsible to Cooper at that time, not the POA. And you know, we supervised that, and we didn't actually do the election. The boards actually did the election, and we just approved them. But I have my experience in life, in my working life, and in business has basically been inside this community. I know how everything works. Helped set up a lot of what works in here, and I did resign in 2006 with Cooper, but I've been building residential and commercial properties ever since, and I actually have commercial development inside the community, so I'm involved in the community 100%. And as Dick said, we just want to get it back to the POA, back to doing what they were designed to do. I'll be here to talk to anybody.
Thank you, Tucker. Lloyd, you're up.
Well, good afternoon, and what a great turnout we've had here today. The first thing I guess I would like to kind of clarify, because I've had a couple people ask me, Buddy Dixon's resignation was done because of health and family reasons. I don't know if anybody was aware, or most people were aware, Buddy was in the hospital for several weeks, and he's still at home convalescing. So let's just pray that he gets better and wish him well as he leaves the board. So this is where I get to say I'm the L in LTD. And I think my compadres here have kind of outlined a little bit about who we are, and that is that we are not people that are going to tell you we're going to do one thing and do something else. When we tell you we're going to do it, we're going to do everything we can to make sure we deliver on what we told you we were going to do. And I have that commitment from all three of us. So I'm going to add my plea for voting for LTD, and hope that we see you at future board meetings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you candidates very much. And as I said earlier, they're going to be here for the next couple of hours to meet, mingle, greet, talk to you, answer your questions. Be sure you ask them questions or you won't get the answer. So take advantage of this opportunity. Thanks again to Cheryl and Joe. I have a question in the back. Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, is it possible where, I don't know if others are interested, where we can ask questions while they are all present together? And then we can all hear the answers versus one person getting an answer and one person getting an answer? Good idea.
Well, we got music, so I don't know if that's a good idea. Music and
Candidates, is that something that you're good with? Okay, I'm told the band is on break for about another 15 minutes, so we'll give that a try. Let's have the first question.
we're gonna be drinking and dancing. Come on, first question.
How much CMP do you think needs to be put in place?
First question came to me, and the question is, I'll repeat it in case people didn't hear it, is how much of the CMP do I think needs to be implemented? Is that your question?
Yes.
I think that we need to go ahead and implement what the people want to implement. And this is just a recommendation, that's all the plan is, but we need a road. To borrow from Alice in Wonderland, is it Alice in Wonderland? I think it is. If you don't know what road if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. The plan is our road. And there's several elements of it. Some of them are more critical, like the infrastructure that we have to deal with now. Some of them are way out there in the future, maybe never. We will see what needs to be done. But it's based on what the priorities that the board sets, and the board should be listening to what the people say.
What is your question?
My question to Nikki.
To Nikki?
Basically, she hasn't been here that long. Stand up, can't hear you.
Stand up, can't hear you.
I've read all your emails. But it's very apparent to me, what your idea here is, the CMP was shoved down our throat. We did not get to vote on that. So I hope you understand that. But also, you say we cannot look backwards. Now, Nikki, we need to look backwards to see where the mistakes were made, so we can move forward. So please, I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you.
I will comment on that one. And I agree to the extent that if we don't learn from our past mistakes, we are bound to continue doing them. And I think that we have done an evaluation of where they are. And as we move forward, there's more history behind us, and we'll need to reevaluate it. That's an ongoing cycle. Look a little bit back, validate and check what your understanding is, and then from that, make your plan moving forward. But I think that if we focus too much on the past and carry that baggage with us, we will not be able to move forward fast enough because we're dragging all that weight with us. So I think there needs to be a balance. Does that make sense?
Okay, next question. Gentleman in the back with his hand up.
Hi, my name's Fred Nelson. Can you hear me? Yeah. My question, which I haven't heard, and maybe this isn't the right time, is I'm concerned with golf. Our rounds of golf and revenue have decreased almost to half of what it was at one time. And I wonder if anybody up there has considered how we could incentivize this so that we could bring in a lot more revenue in golfers, because it's a major expense. I understand it takes about $900,000 a year for each golf course maintenance. So that's a tremendous expense, and I'd like to hear from you.
Okay, the question is, how are we going to fix the failing golf program not generating enough revenue? I think Dick is going to answer for us.
This is a really, really serious subject, okay? The first thing we have to understand about golf is this year it's going to lose $2.2 million. Last year it lost $2.2 million. Next year it's projected to have $7 million in revenue. We haven't had $6 million in revenue in the last 4 years. We just barely made $6 million one year when we sold golf carts and counted that as revenue. So we've got way deeper problems in golf than maybe anywhere else in the village. The way out is marketing. And marketing is simply getting people to come here and play golf. 2 years ago, Hot Springs Country Club had 30-some Arkansas State Golf Association tournaments at Hot Springs Country Club. any of you that ever played there, compared to our golf courses, it's a goat track, okay? Our golf courses are so much better than down there, and we had 0 here, Arkansas State Golf Association tournaments. We need to get those guys in here. We need to get the groups in here that come to the new casino to gamble. We need to get them up here. We need to lower the rate on the Discovery package and give them some golf to play while they're here. We need to, in the afternoon on Golf Now, if we could just get somebody to come here and play for a cart fee, that cart's going to sit out there, okay? If we just had somebody to pay for it for that afternoon, that would help the golf revenue. But basically, we need people to come in here and play golf. It's a crying shame that we don't have a national golf tournament sponsored by someone like Callaway here for our 50th anniversary. That is an absolute sin. It's too late now to do it. That ship sailed. But that's the kind of thinking and that's the kind of thing that we hope to bring to the board and to golf. If that helps.
Thank you, Dick. Let's try to even this out. So can I get a question for Tucker from someone? Question for Tucker.
Hello, my name is David Camp, and I've lived in the village for 3.5 years. We're not retired, so we moved here, you know, liking it and stuff. And I worked Balboa Beach Patrol from 2017. I would like to know what's your guys' plan on getting these gates fixed, because anybody can get in these gates. You know, we're the largest gated community. You hear it on the radio in the United States. We need to keep people out of here that don't belong here, you know? All you gotta do is say, I'm playing bingo tonight, and you can get in these gates, and trying to stop them from going down to Balboa Beach was a very big concern. You know, my third night down there, we had a gunshot, the kids and stuff, you know? And that's a big draw, you know, Balboa Beach. How can we get these gates fixed?
Good question. Thank you.
That's a big problem I have a problem with too. I'll tell you a quick story. Many years ago, John Cooper Sr. came to the front gate with his limo and his driver. He failed to enter. He told them who he was. He failed to enter. Fortunately, the lot sales office was right there, so he had to drive up there and get a pass to get into his village. It was simple. He didn't have a card to get in, or nobody called him in. That's the way it's worked for 35 years. Well, it used to work that way for many years. I still call people in. I didn't realize I didn't have to until recently. It's real simple. If you drive up to the gates and you can get in by saying something to the gate person, then we have a problem.
Thank you. My name is Joe Rumley. I have a same question for everybody. Number third item on this list is marketing HSP. I'd like to hear from each of you. Seems like the only purpose for the board is to be in sales, selling the village, selling the empty lots, promoting it, as the gentleman was talking about earlier. I don't want to hear many plans if it's not related to marketing and sales. We've got professionals that'll figure out how to fix the roads. We got professionals that'll run, electricity, things like that. I want the board to be involved in sales and marketing. No other purpose for it. I'd like to hear from you on that.
Go ahead, Kurt. You're up.
Okay, oh yeah. Sales and marketing, $1 million for the last year, $1 million the year before. What was the return? $164,000? I don't believe that the management or the board of directors have any idea what they're doing when it comes to marketing.
if you're gonna have a marketing plan, I'd say hire somebody from the outside. Somebody that will guarantee, dollar for dollar, that they will sell this place. Otherwise, they don't get nothing. We should not be wasting our assessment dollars on failed plans that have not worked and they will not work. So that's my plan, would be to get somebody who will work on a commission basis, will not drain a dime from our assessments.
Thank you, Kirk. I'm going to pass that question on to Mr. Sherman since the question was sort of open-ended for everyone, and let him answer for LTD on this.
We have very little marketing DNA either in the POA or on the current board. There are several people up here who possess some of those skills. Nothing happens in any organization until you market what you have available. Then you sell it. So marketing and sales is critical, obviously, to the success of the village and keeping people coming here. We need, in my estimation, a marketing committee that reports to the board. Made up of marketing professionals who live here in the village. They're here. They've tried through the years to get this information before the POA, and they've been unsuccessful. The only way that's going to happen is to let LTD again bring this forward, get us a committee that's going to work on it and give us recommendations that we can crunch and hopefully implement.
Nikki, would you like to chime in on this since it's a pretty big question and pretty open-ended for everybody?
Well, we currently have a marketing committee. It's actually a marketing subcommittee that's part of the CNP advisory committee. They have been tasked with that and they have been working on it. So that to say that we don't have one is not there. Now, like any new committee, and this is new, they are going to take a little bit of time to get their feet wet to figure out how they're going to work. And we need to allow them the time to do that within the confines of their charter. Every committee has a charter and they are honor bound to do it just like every other committee. Now, as far as should we market, is that a priority? Yes, it's in the top 3 priorities for the board, current and future. And I believe that that is necessary because honestly, people, we're the worst kept secret. Nobody knows about us, and through marketing, we're going to be able to make it so that other people hear about our little piece of heaven. And that's what we need to work on. So in terms of getting the word out, look around this room. You're the sales and marketing force. You talk to people every day, and what you say resonates. So I think that the responsibility of marketing and at least marketing should belong to all of us as members of the POA, not just to an elite few people.
Thank you, Nikki.
Counterpoint. Counterpoint. I counterpoint.
I would simply like to say that what I said was there should be a board-level marketing committee, number 1. Number 2, I have to point out, Nikki, that that committee reports to the CMPAC committee, and their findings under your leadership have been held back.
That's right.
Okay. There have been some miscommunications about this. But and this is still an opening issue, and I'm not going to address the findings that Lloyd is representing, other than to say that there is a process. The process requires going through review channels. It's not censorship. It is simply going through review channels. If we don't honor the process, then why are we here and having an election? That's anarchy, not democracy. I stand by the process, and when and if it passes through those processes, then and only then is it available for public view. That it got leaked prior to that is a disgrace.
Okay, folks. The band is going to resume playing for about 45 minutes. We'll pick this up again with some questions and answers at 3:30. So hold your questions. Meanwhile, Minnie and Laura, let's give them a big hand. And they are performing locally at different venues from time to time, so keep your ear to the ground and your eyes on the email, and maybe you'll find out where you can go hear them again. Okay, candidates to the front, please. Candidates, calling all candidates. So while the candidates are coming up, I just want to let you know I had a couple of glasses of wine in the break, so I'm not responsible for anything I might say going forward. Okay, settle down. We're going to do another Q&A for about 15-20 minutes. That seemed to be the popular idea. That was not how we planned it, but that's what we're doing. So who's going to be the first person with a question? Oh, Hans, you already had one. We need a new person.
No, this is great.
No. Let's get this gentleman over here in the turquoise. Is that turquoise?
Excuse me, my name is Jim Sher. I live on the east end of Pack City faction. But let me say this, it's not a question. I have a statement to make. I am tired of the tail wagging the dog. So I want you people that are sitting up there asking for our votes to put it around and have that dog wag that tail. Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
What will it take to get our gates back up?
Okay, who wants to figure out and tell us how we're going to get the gates back up? What's it going to take? Who wants to go to the microphone that's in front of you there? Oh, it's not in front of you anymore. Oh, okay.
Hello? Although it may take a little time, it's a matter of just telling them what to do in the future. It's not rocket science. You don't come in if you don't have a way. If you're not asked to come in. I don't know what else you need to do. Now the tailgating at the other gates, I know there's some concern about that. I wish I had the answer to that one, and I don't. But
If you want to go to church, you get in. If you want to go to an estate sale, you get in.
not if I had anything to do with it. If you want in, you better have somebody call you in, or you better have a pass. You better be a property owner, or you don't come in.
Any of the construction workers got in there, and I didn't have to call, but yet my nephew from Dallas comes up here, he has to have a pass. I don't get it.
He was saying that his tub repair guy or a tub guy that installed a tub could just come in. We used to have work passes, and I'm sure we still do. I just don't know if anybody tries to use them anymore because they don't have to. It's so simple to fix. You just tell them no. I used to have workers all over the place. They got a work pass every year. I've been in construction here all my life. That's the way it is.
Thank you, Dick. Okay, another question.
Tom, just to add to that, the other thing I think needs to be looked at again is, it used to be that we had some volunteers and POA employees that manned our gates. We now have contracts with people who are not vested in our community.
If we have people back up there who are vested in our community, in addition to what Dick is talking about, then I think we can get this issue resolved. It's not rocket science, it really isn't.
I have two questions. Tucker knows this and Lloyd knows this, but I'm a new home builder. I've been here only a year and a half, and I'm on building my second home. And for a 1,800 square foot home to start it, before you can break ground, the permit fee is $11,000. In Hot Springs, it's about less than $3,000. Okay, so what does a business owner have to do? I have to carry that cost over to the price of the home. I can't just absorb that much money. So my question to the candidates and whoever wants to answer it, I know Tucker's very aware of this, is how can we reduce for new homes, because the only way we're going to increase revenue is new rooftops. So to encourage home builders to come back to the village and build, how can we get the permit fees down, or what are your ideas on reducing the permit fees?
What people don't realize is $5,000 of that fee is for a sewer holding tank pump grinder system that we, the POA, have elected years ago to put in, which we're the only places I've ever heard of doing that. The builders do it everywhere else. So that does skew our numbers a little bit, and it makes us look bad, or actually worse than we actually may be. But our permit fees are about 5 to 6 times higher than Hot Springs. I don't know where you found one for 3,000 Hot Springs, but last I checked, they were about 900. So, but maybe certain areas.
I was being conservative.
Okay, well, they're about $1,000. But what we've always been bad about doing here, I'll try to make this quick, but this has happened for years because I've been here for years. We as a board have always in the past tried to find minorities to pay for our golf and all that, instead of requiring the village to pay for it. They tried to raise permit fees back with me years ago for $500 per permit. Back then, they were like $2,000 or $1,500. That was going to cost me $50,000 a year, my Cooper that I work for. We've got to stop trying to get the Coronado, people that go to different events to pay for this. We all as villagers need to pay for the village and quit penalizing certain people and the ones that are defenseless. They can't, if they want to build a house here, they got to pay these fees. And we want rooftops, we say.
Thank you, Tucker. All right, I have another question here. Is for Nikki.
Could I just add something?
Okay, no problem.
To pile on to that issue, we lifted 112 pages of protected covenants out of the CMP and stuck them on top of the ACC to enforce. We got a long fine for 45 years without that 112 pages of new protected covenants. We can do it for another 50 years without them.
Thank you, Dick.
Hi, I'm Carol Fields. My question has to be, is how do we get more power back to the board so we can affect changes in the village that we all want? And I guess this question is for Nikki. All right. Power versus authority, I think, is one of the questions here. Governance does tell us what authority that the board has versus anything else. And I think there's been a perception that there is not a balance of power that needs to happen between staff versus the board. And I think that we need to take a closer look at that. But one of the things that I have found is that when we're talking about authority levels of who's going to have what authority, you can't give somebody an authority that you don't have personally. That's called delegation. And I think that we can specify what we need to do. But I do think that there needs to be a clear, defined expectation of what each group does. And you have to remember that as a board director, we have a volunteer role. We're not getting paid for this. And going in and having having control or authority or making decisions related to what staff is doing. That's not what I'm here for. We have paid staff to do that. But it is the goal and the expectation that the board set the priorities, set the strategies in place so that the staff can do what they want to do or what they need to do in order to handle and meet those priorities.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, another question. Are you up here, Kathy, because you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Well, okay.
You need permission. All right, I'm old. We've been here 22 years, and what we loved when we came was that it was the Property Owners Association, and we, the property owners, were listened to. To the extent that I have written a letter, my second year here, and I wrote it to the board. It was read at the board meeting, and I was called by 2 different people on the board to respond to it. And now, if you try to communicate, you can't do one to the board. It's only got to be the one specific person, and if they're allowed, the rest of them can read it. Everybody has to respond in one voice. What I would like to, it's not a question, what I would like to know is, are you in favor? Please raise your hand, all of you. And, well, okay, let's back up. The reason I thought the board existed was to filter the concerns of the citizens and return ideas back. And so are you in favor of that, the governance committee? I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it got passed, but we were doing just fine governing ourselves without it. So I would like to see that maybe go on. Where's my question?
So who wants to take this question about getting the board to be more responsive and perhaps doing something with this governance committee? It looks like Dick is standing.
One of the first initiatives that LTD will do will be to ask to abolish the governance committee. The governance committee, as it is today, is a board within the board. You have three board members making decisions that 7 board members should do. We hope to do 7 board members in an open meeting, in a work session, and abolish the governance committee.
Does anyone else want to respond similarly?
I can say that the governance committee is not a problem. It's the people who are on it is the problem. And that's what I would abolish. I mean, it's supposed to be made out of property owners, not board of directors and CEOs. Every amendment that they've come up with since August of 17 needs to be repealed because each one was illegally brought onto this village.
Pat McCarthy. I'd like to make a comment. In a nutshell, what's happened in the village is that we, the owners, have lost trust in the board and the POA. And I think most people don't see the board and the POA as being disconnected. In other words, one operating without some connection from the other one. And I think we're sick and tired of this corporate mentality. We are a community, we always have been. I don't care what form we file with the IRS, it doesn't make any difference. We need to talk to each other like a community. We need a general manager or a city manager or something of that nature. We do not need a CEO, and we sure as heck do not need a president, a prior president of the board, saying that he owes allegiance or obedience to the corporation. It's a sickening time, and we're up for a change. And as far as going to the past is concerned, we don't need to. It's happening right now. It's not a few people, it's a lot of people. They're sick and tired of it and want to get back to the village that we're supposed to be and get back to where we have trust in each other. The situation as it stands right now is that we could not pass an increase in the fee. We could not pass a special assessment because the owners would vote it down like crazy. And so what's happening? We're getting feed to death. And I don't like to be feed to death myself, and quite frankly, I don't want other people to be feed to death. Let's try to work and get the trust back. And I think there's some members up there that realize, there's some people up there that realize those are the main problems, and that's what we have to get back to.
Any candidate want to comment on this?
You just made our agenda.
Okay, let's have another candidate comment. Did any other candidate wish to comment on that last? I guess not. Okay. Another question. Who has a question?
Nailed it.
Sir, in the back, if you'd walk up to the front, it would help us out. Meanwhile, we're going to take this gentleman here in the middle.
Good morning, or good afternoon. One of the things I'd like our new board to do is hit the ground running. Even though you're going to be elected, you're not really appointed to the board yet, going to be 4 of you here. Hit the board running, work with the new board, the old board, work with the new board, convince them of some of the things that you want to do. Specifically, I don't want the new board to be handcuffed by the policies of the old board. Somehow work together with the old board. Do not extend any contracts. You know what I'm talking about. Do not sign any bill bulletins. Do not allow yourselves to be handcuffed and strangled by a legacy of the old board. So tell me what you're going to do in that area. Even though you don't have the authority, you have a lot of influence, okay? Talk to me.
We do have the authority. We got 3 for sure getting on this time that is against the new bylaws that have come up lately that handcuff the board of directors. There's no problem anymore. 4 against 3, we will have a majority vote.
Thank you, Kirk. Anyone else on the candidate pool want to comment? Nikki, I saw your hand go up.
The reality is that the contract extension is in the hands of the existing board. I can tell you that I sent a document through to them this morning requesting that they not extend this contract and that this should be the work of the new board as it is in her contract year. The board seated in that contract year should be the one dealing with the contract.
I'd like to take a slightly different approach to the question. I think that one of the things that we need to do better when we have a transition from one board to another, because every year we have this happen, is we need to have a better transition. And one of the thoughts that I have, and we'd have to explore what the possibility is, I would like to shift the election of new board members so there's a greater distance between when you're elected and when you actually take your position to do job shadowing. That allows you to get involved. Hold on. And it gives you the ability to to have a say in what you want to do as you move forward. So that is an idea, because we would be able to hit the ground running if we had that transition and if you had a choice and a say in what budgets and things were going to happen. So that is something we could do to address transition.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, another question. Who has a question? Oh, I see 2 hands going up over here. Hold on, I'm on my way.
Hello. I want to know, I've had extensive problems with landscaping that I'm trying to get finished in my yard because of the ACC. What will you do about that to give me my freedom back to do what I want to do in my yard and make them leave me alone?
It's your yard. You do what you want to do. The protective covenants are history. These 3 right here will repeal every new protective covenant that's ever been put here since the adoption of the CMP. The CMP is history. On April the 15th, it's gone. So, you find out where the sun shines in your yard, you plant your garden there. Because it won't grow anywhere else. That ACC has no idea where your plants will grow. You decide what you do with your own property. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk. Anyone else care to comment on the ACC and what you can grow in your own yard?
Hi, I have a question for Nikki. She was talking about the CMP and a committee that was involved with the CMP, and nothing had been completed from that committee. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
And you said there's a processes that you have to go through, and I was wondering what that was.
There is a process of any subcommittee, and this would not be just true of this committee, but subcommittees for any of them, there should be a process that when a document has been written or any artifact from a committee has to go through the channel of reviews and approvals before it gets to the committee level, and then with a recommendation of that committee to go be forwarded to the appropriate person on either staff or board. That's the only process that we're working on. That's what every committee should be doing.
Thank you, Nikki. Another question. Who has a question?
Going back to the security gate issue and what happened on the 4th of July, we've got the 50th anniversary coming up. I don't know about you, but I am petrified about the individuals that will be coming in because of all the marketing money that's been spent of individuals coming here into the village. And I understand we may need to promote the village to outsiders, but I don't know if a convict, somebody who's got a felon, is going to be coming through those gates that's going to be scouring our streets and looking for opportunities. So I'd like to know if there is some kind of contingency that could be done prior to the 50th anniversary so we can have some security.
Okay, good question. Who's got an answer?
Back to the gates again. The marketing that's going on and so forth in the village is I don't think it's marketed for the 4th of July. I think we obviously have a problem like we had the last 4th of July, but I don't think marketing plays a factor in that. We're not probably going to bring a lot of people in here on the 4th of July anyway. It's just throughout the year. But again, it gets back to you have to have authorization to get in here. If you come through the gate, somebody in your family, friend, or somebody needs to call you in. I don't know how much, there's only so far you can go with security. If you've got somebody living here and their son or daughter or uncle or whatever is a criminal, they can get them in here. We can't stop everything, but we could do a lot better job.
Thank you, Tucker. And I need to also mention, Mr. Sherman reserved a room on the side over here if someone wants to have more quiet conversations with him about his ideas. Otherwise, the candidates will be mingling among you, and feel free to, bend their ear, twist their arm, step on their toe, whatever you want to do. But right now, we have another question. Hold on.
I don't have a question. Okay, my wife puts her hand up. Tom, yes, you did. And Tom comes over here. I figured, okay, my wife's got a question. I want to thank everybody for coming. This is just wonderful. The village is a great place to live. Thank you very much. We've got a wonderful opportunity ahead of us. Just give it a little bit of time. Wait till April and see what in the heck's going on after April, and everything's going to be great. Sure appreciate even Nikki coming to this.
I'll second that, and I do want to thank all the candidates for putting themselves out here for us to throw arrows and darts at, and all that's been going on. And I think we've had some good questions, some good answers, and so Sugar Beets is going to start up again.
Hey, I'd like to, Tom just mentioned my room. I had it from 2:30 to 3:30, but I never made it out of this room. So I'm not going to my room. I'm staying in here with you guys.
You go to your room. My boss has one question. She's having
Is there one more question?
one more question.
Okay, I'm kind of new to all this political crap, but Kirk, I'm a little confused. I thought at the very beginning you said that you support Nikki, and then you also said that you have the back of the LTD, and then a minute ago you were saying the CMP is out, which Nikki is a part of or chairing it, or I'm not sure exactly. So could you explain? I'm just trying to figure out kind of where you fit in the mix here with all of these others.
Well, the place where I fit is being able to work with whoever gets elected. So we're going to have to deal with old board members, new board members, and anybody who is elected. So that's where I stand. I support Nikki if she gets elected. I support LTD if they get elected.
Where do you stand?
I'm standing right here. If you kept up with what my platform is, then you would know. I'll love to speak with you.
When you sit on the fence, we don't know where you are.
Well, you know, Nikki is a very good candidate. If you don't want me, do not vote for me. How's that?
Where is your stance on the CMP?
On the CMP, it's just like I told you, April 15th is gone.
But what is your stance on it?
If I'm in there, I'm going to vote it gone.
Tell yourself.
But that doesn't mean Nikki won't be there still.
Yeah, I understand.
So,
I think there was some confusion.
it's all about reality, and stop being delusional about reality.
Thank you, Kurt. All right, it's time for the band to start up again. And please do not leave. Continue to find and buttonhole your candidates and ask them questions.